Hello, everyone. I am like running behind today, and I am so sorry about that. Just a couple minutes late here, but I am so happy to be with you. You can see I didn't even like turn on my lights and stuff behind me. I'm Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio, and I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. I have such a fun project planned for you, and we're going to be using some of the new Good Times product suite. We're going to have a great time with this. I have a card planned. If we have time, we will make 2 cards. I kind of doubt we'll have time, but you never know. If we have time, we'll do a couple of them. But a couple things I want to remind you of before we get into the card making is that, number one, we have a giveaway for you for those who are here live. We have 2 $50 Pinkfresh Studio gift certificates available. We'll be choosing a winner at the end of this live stream broadcast. And the way that you enter to win that is just chat in the comments. You can answer each other's questions. You can share this video in like a Facebook group or a text message or an email. If a Facebook group, if it's allowed, don't break the rules. But you can do that, and then you come back here, let us know that you shared it, and then we will count that as an entry to win as well. If you have not already subscribed here to the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel, make sure you do that now. It's not an entry, but we don't want you to miss anything we have going on here, and so we would love for you to do that. Also, if you turn on the notifications, you'll know every time that we post a new video or we go live, and that is great information to have. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Here is the other thing I wanted to tell you. If you are watching live on the replay, we are so glad that you are here. You can leave a comment by midnight on April 28th, and you will be entered to win one of 2 Pinkfresh Studio digital gift cards. So those are worth $50 each as well. So there are 4 winners, 2 during the live stream, 2 watching on replay. We don't want to leave anyone out. And so we are glad you are all here. Now, before I do this, let's just rectify a couple things. We'll turn on the lights, okay? And then we will get right down to the desktop today. So I have the Good Times product suite pulled out, and I thought we would use the press plates today. And honestly, I have been kind of out of town. I've been really busy. I have a busy week ahead of me here, but I'm not sure if people have been using press plates or just stamps. I'm not sure what we've been doing here on the Pinkfresh Studio live streams, but I thought I would do some foiling today, and I thought we could talk through some of my favorite things to do when I'm foiling. Yay, look at you all here from Georgia, from Idaho, California. So glad that you're all able to catch us live. Kentucky. So I thought we would do that. I'm going to be using some new products, which is the Good Times product suite, as well as the Elongated double stitched ovals dies. I'm also going to be using a couple of older products, and that is the Elongated Lattice cover plate, as well as this Joyful Day product suite, which includes a press plate, a stamp set, stencils, and coordinating die. So this is a really beautiful, simple leaf design. And if you know me, I love a good leaf. I love a good leaf. So I have my glimmer machine. I was actually plugging it in during the countdown. I have my glimmer machine heating up over here to the side. And I wanted to talk to you. A lot of people ask me how I store my hot foils. And so I thought I'd give you a little tip while that finishes heating up. I take my most used foil colors and I actually like cut them down into like card size panel sizes. So like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. They're already, I don't know, like 5-ish inches one way. I just make sure they're long enough to get that entire A2 size card front, and I keep them in a stamp pocket. I find that that way I'm ready to go. I don't have to fuss with it. I do trim these down using a paper trimmer, and I find that just a great way to store my most used foils. Now, for the foils that I use that are not as often used, I just keep those in the rolls and I throw those in a drawer. And then another thing that you can do is on those rolls of foil, you can take the bit of your packaging that shows what color that is and kind of tape it on the inside of the roll. That will help you know what color that you have or what manufacturer and that sort of thing. So, hello, Melissa. I just saw you pop in there. And I love that you all are liking this good tip for sharing or storing foil. So let's get into our press plate. You can see that my Glimmer Hot Foil system is fully heated, and I know that because the platform ready light is on. So this is the power light. This is the ready light. That means it's got to its full heat and it's ready to go. So I'm going to take my Good Times press plate and I am going to lay it onto the platform here. Question, does the foil get old so it doesn't foil completely? There can be foils that maybe have a shelf life. I have heard of that happening. It can. Or there can be just a bad roll of foil, I think. And I've had a couple of those. I always find really good results with the champagne foil, which is what I have linked today. So I love that. It's kind of a softer gold color. It's not quite as brassy. And so it's just a wonderful, you know what? I think I'm going to do the sentiments separately just so I make sure that they get on there. So it's on my platform here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push that timer button. Now we'll have to wait for the timer to finish before we do our foiling, but that's okay because I need to pull out my plates for foiling. I'm telling you, I was running in here, getting the dogs all locked up. I am just having a morning. I'm having a morning. So here is what I have found. I'm going to try foiling this without a shim, but I am finding that my Platinum 6 machine, I think, is getting older. It's very squeaky. I've had it for a really long time. I use it a lot. I think that it is losing some of its tightness. And so I'm finding more and more recently that I need to add a paper shim between my thin shim and my spacer pad. We'll try it without it first. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. If I have to refoil, I'm totally okay with that. I am using a nice smooth white cardstock today. Smooth white cardstocks are key when it comes to getting good foil results. Oh, and I saw, by the way, the 25% all in stock foils, glimmer foil rolls over on the Pinkfresh Studio website is still going on. So you can get any of the Glimmer Hot Foil rolls that are in stock for 25% off over on the Pinkfresh Studio site. So you want to have a smooth cardstock. Now, Hammermill is a great cardstock for that. Another great cardstock is the Concord and Ninth white cardstock. I'm sure so many of you have your favorite cardstocks, but if you're not getting good results, I challenge you to try a different cardstock. You may get a better result. Okay, so our timer is complete, and I know that because it's no longer flashing. And so I'm going to go ahead and remove the platform from the base, and I'm going to take it over to my Platinum 6. I have too many things in my way here. I'm going to lay this down, and then I'm going to take my foil, and I'm going to place it with the pretty side down or the pretty side facing my pattern of my press plate, and then I'm going to take my cardstock and lay that on top. Notice I am not in a rush here. This is hot, it's heated, it's ready to go, so I don't really rush this portion. I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm very familiar with the process, but I'm also not rushing the process. You don't have to like hurry because it's hot and ready to go, and you don't want it to like not foil correctly. I'm just putting it down and going with it. I'm not wasting a lot of time, but also I'm not like rushing my way through it. This did feel like maybe I'm gonna need a shim, but we'll see what happens when we pull this off. Okay, so I can see that it pressed in there. We'll see if it transferred well. Oh, it actually did. Perfect. So that's good. Looks like I got great results. I think I need to turn your guys's brightness down just a bit. So let's go in here and just adjust you just a tiny so that we can have you a little less bright there so we're not blowing everything out. So you can see I have great results. And now I'm done with this, and don't do what I do, just do as I say. I'm gonna just swipe it off of there with my fingers and put it onto my glass mat. That will help dissipate the heat. And then I'm gonna take a couple of these sentiments and I will foil those separately. We'll see if we have enough left over to on that one to do these sentiments. If not, we'll just trim down another piece. Okay, so I'm gonna line those up there. I'm gonna make sure I have enough room to use the dies in between. And so I'll just let that sit there for just a second. I'll go ahead and hit the timer button. I'm just getting everything out of my way. And I do have a second piece of cardstock here. This is like a scrap leftover from some die cutting. I did do a little bit of die cutting ahead of time. And so because I thought, well, if I can get through 2 cards, I will, but we'll see. So it looks like I do not have enough on that scrap piece of foil to get these sentiments done. So I'm going to take one of these like full panels and I'm just going to trim it in half. It's helpful to have some good scissors for your foil cutting. And I'll put half of it aside and we'll use the other half to foil our sentiments. Foil is so fun. There is no result like foiling, in my opinion. Now, you can get a similar look. If you're not a hot foiler, that's fine. What you could do is you could use a gold embossing powder instead and create your gold images and your gold sentiments. So that's an option for you. Okay, so my timer is complete. I'm going to take this over. I'm going to add my foil with the pretty side down. I'm going to add my cardstock. I'm going to add my thin shim and my spacer pad. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine again. Oh, Melanie, if you have not tried foiling, I mean, there's nothing like it. Go to a friend's house, someone who has one, try it out. You're going to love it. You're going to fall in love. Fetugina says, I'm an old school mink user. That's totally fine, but you cannot use the press plates with a mink system. So just keep that in mind. But if you use a stamp and do some heat embossing, you can get similar results. It's not quite the same. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and reveal this. You can see I have some beautiful gold foiled sentiments. Now we can set the sentiments off to the side. I'm gonna toss that out of my way. And I'm gonna get this off of my desk because we need some room to work. I'm gonna go ahead and just swipe those onto my glass mat. Be careful, it is hot. So just be careful. They're already cooling down though. So I'm gonna stick these back on just so that I don't lose them because I do have a hard time keeping track of things. Foil is addictive. It's so smart that you put everything on the platform after it's out of the machine. Oh yes, I think it's so much easier because nothing shifts around. If it does shift around, I know my paper's still in the right place. So I haven't even finished my coffee for the day, so you're just going along with me for the ride. I like the gold embossing because I don't have hot foil. It's on my wish list. Question for Carissa, what glass mat do you use? This is Glassboard Studio glass mat. So let's see. I'm trying to think of what I want to use. I'm going to use a grip mat today to hold my cardstock and my stencils in place. S. Suzuka says, I do have trouble removing the base from the foil machine. Any tips? Well, if it's a little harder to pull out, then I recommend pulling it out like I do, putting it on your thing and then adding your foil and your cardstock so that if it does shift around, you can just kind of tap it back into place before you move. Then your cardstock and your foil won't shift if you're doing that after you remove it from the base. So I kind of just hold it and pull, I don't know, maybe like go in and pull it out and push it in and pull it out and try to see if you can loosen that up a little bit. Okay, So I am going to place my foiled images here on the script mat. Now the stencils I don't think are going to be big enough. Oh, they are. Okay, so they are big enough for me to use the grip mat to hold them in place, but I can also use a magnet if I feel like I need to. And I'm just looking over the top of this. I'm sorry my head's in the way, but I want to get this lined up well. And I'm just looking through the top of that and lining up stencil number 1. Now, I am not a big rule follower as when it comes to like going in order of the stencils. I find that whatever order I go in usually works out okay. But I do like to do like the more solid portions for first as a general rule and then do detail portions. So I'm going to start with the clock faces, and I'm kind of going back and forth, and I could do Ocean Breeze. I could do Peach Fuzz. I'm also going to use some Coral Reef, some Passion Fruit, and some Olive. So there you go. You can see the colors I'm using there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with my first instinct and go with the Peach Fuzz, but I'm going to go real light. I don't want a ton of color on these, but I do want some sort of color. I am using the 1-inch blending brushes, and something I did want to mention is that all of the products that I'm using today are linked in the YouTube description below. So if you're looking for something from Pinkfresh Studio, I will have those linked below. Someone asked, and I'm trying to see who it was because it just went by. Christina asked, does the ink not cover the foil? It does not. The foil acts as a resist because it's a smooth surface, and it does not get covered by the ink. I find even when I'm doing dark colors of ink, which we will do with the olive, that I don't get that covered up. So it's almost like when you do emboss resist and you have that smooth surface, you can wipe the ink away. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. I'm going to grab my dry cloth and just wipe down the stencil before I remove it. And we have just a whiff of color on there to give it just a little bit of color. I don't want this to be the focal image of the color. I just want, you know, a little lightness there. So now I have, this is stencil number 2. I'm not even sure if they're in order. And I'm going to come in here, and this is a large portion. These are definitely Carissa colors, says Diane. I agree. They are. I just went with my gut today. And this is kind of going to be a more feminine style card. But I want the main portion of my clocks to be in the Coral Reef color. So I'm going to line up my stencil here, just making sure I get everything into place, and then I'm going to press this down. And then I will grab Coral Reef. So Coral Reef is one of my favorites. Cherry Blossom is also a favorite. If you wanted to do kind of a mixed situation or an ombre situation, you could totally do that. You could blend some Cherry Blossom on first. I have a few extra ink colors linked down there in the description. And that's just because I wasn't sure, like when I got creating, what I would really want to do. So, oh, sorry about that. We're going to just turn my phone on Do Not Disturb while we are live. Okay. I'm just blending on this Coral Reef ink. And you're going to see, I'll show this to you after this layer. I'll show you that you'll still be able to see that foil. It doesn't get covered up. It's, as I mentioned, because it's a smooth surface, it's non-porous. It's not like a paper that will absorb the ink. The ink sits on top of the foil. You can wipe any ink away. I've even used like the dark greens on overfoiling, and it is just fine. So I'm going to wipe this off, and then I'll show you. Look at this. Hold on. Do you see that the foil is all still there? It's all still shiny. So it doesn't affect the foil at all. Okay, so that was stencil number 2. Let's move on to stencil number 3. And stencil number 3, we're going to use, I don't think I want this to be passion fruit, so we may do some selective blending here. And I don't know that I want all this to be passion fruit. So we're gonna, we'll probably switch over to 1/2-inch blending brushes and bring those in so we can color smaller areas at a time. So I think for the passion fruit, which is a little darker than the coral reef, I am going to bring in my 1/2-inch blending brush, and I'm going to go over these little buds that are kind of here at the top. And I'm just being careful with a 1/2-inch blending brush. And I'm just going to do some of these little details here. I might do these larger portions of the clock here. I'm not sure. Maybe we're going to go with cherry blossom. I don't know. I have no idea. We're making it up as we go along. We're going with our gut. We're going with the feels. Okay. So that's passion fruit. I think let's do cherry blossom. Okay, so we're going to wipe that away. And we're going to go with cherry blossom with the rest. Now, it may not show as well on some of these because we have some, well, first of all, I went over the line on those, but we'll see. We can always blend over the top of it. Try it out. If you don't like it, you know, go with something different. So this is cherry blossom, and it's, did I just re-ink that? Man. It seems intense for cherry blossom. Maybe because I just dipped aggressively. I was an aggressive dipper. But we'll make it all kind of come together here. I just don't think I want something as intense as passion fruit in some of these larger areas. We'll see when we take off the stencil if we like it or not. If we don't like it, all we have to do is blend another darker color over it and call it good. So let's wipe this down. Stenciling makes everybody look professional, doesn't it though? Oh, I kind of like that. It has like a more of a, like an earthy base to it. So pretty. Okay, I think we'll call that good. We'll call that good. And then we're going to move on to stencil number 4. So these are pink clocks. This final stencil is the green, and I think pink and green are some of my favorites. I am digging like the true greens right now with the pinks. It is just giving me life. So I'm lining that up, and then I will use olive. Olive is one of my favorite greens from Pinkfresh Studio. It's deep, but it still has that true green color. It's not too like blue. It's just good. It's just good. Trust me on that. If you don't have it, I think you'll really like it. I'm going to use a 1/2-inch blending brush. I don't know that I want this to be olive. I'm just saying, you know, all clocks should be pink. Okay, so something I did want to mention is the color palette that I've chosen today is very, very feminine in my opinion. I mean, it definitely leans feminine. But if you wanted to take this same card design, you could definitely masculinize it. Does that even make sense? You could definitely make it more masculine with a different palette. Instead of pinks, if you did like teals or greens and blues, you could definitely do that. And if you are someone who is maybe struggling with masculine cards, don't forget, we have our Cards for Him event coming up. And I believe registration is still open for that. So if you head on over to the Pinkfresh Studio website, you can still register for that Cards for Him event. And I used different palettes for all of my stuff so that there would be a lot of color inspiration for you. It's a spring garden palette. I agree. I'm going to just do this. I got a little green in there, but we're going to probably cover this because I was inspired by, I can't remember who on the Pinkfresh Studio website put like a little metallic gold pearl over the bottom of this clock pendulum. Is that what it's called? And I thought that was so cute. So now you can see I have all of the shine of my foil still there. And I think these turned out great. I love it. If you want to do like, a higher contrast, then I wouldn't necessarily do like the cherry blossom and the coral reef. You could do a darker color in those to kind of bring a little more contrast. But I think I like it. I think I like it. I think, keep in mind that not all of your stencils have to be like vastly different colors. You can change the look of this by using colors that are closer to each other, so you have less, colorways going on, or you could really change the look of it by using drastically different colors on each one of those stencils. So see the difference between that? I mean, change up the look. Play with your colors a little bit. Okay, now I need my dies for this, and we're going to do our die cutting. Oh, I loved that idea of the gold embellishment on the pendulum as well. Did anybody have like these kind of clocks growing up? My grandmother had a grandfather clock in her entryway, and it used to sing all night, and it spooked me out when I was a kid. Hated that noise at night. But it was a beautiful clock. And of course it had the gold pendulum, huge grandfather clock. Okay, so I'm gonna start by lining up my one-piece die on all of these. Keep in mind, the stencils are one piece, the dies are one piece, the stamps are one piece, the press plates, all of these images in one swoop, whether you're stamping, die cutting, stenciling, or whatever. Now I'm also going to grab my sentiments and I'm going to line these up, and we'll see if we can figure out how these go. So that'll go there. I bet the noise would relax you as an adult. It wasn't the ticking, although I hate ticking. I have a clock in my bathroom that ticks and I hate it. It was like that it would, chime in the middle of the night and wake me up. Talisa Inc. said her grandmother had one and she loved the chime. I don't know. I don't want to be reminded of the time all day also. I mean, that's another thing. Okay, so I have all of my sentiment dies lined up. I have all of my one-piece die lined up. Make sure we're all in a good spot. And then let's go ahead and die cut these. So I'm running this through my Anna Griffin Empress machine. You can use these with whatever die cut machine you have. So my grandpa made 6 grandfather clocks for each granddaughter. That is so cool. That is really, what an amazing keepsake, Donna. That's cool. Carrie says the ticking would drive her nuts. Yeah, I'm one of those people that can't turn noises off. Like if someone's clicking their pen in a meeting, I might just lose my mind. I've been known to not be able to turn off those noises, or if someone's making, like a repetitive noise over and over again. Jody says ticking is not allowed in her house. She'd go crazy. I agree. It does. I don't have any ticking clocks in the craft room because this is my peaceful place. Misophonia. Is that what it's called, Christina? Okay. Well, I hear it all. I hear it all. I can't help it. Okay. So now we have our sentiments. They're so pretty. And we have our clocks. Adorable. And let's start out with card 1, which I have in my brain. And it features this larger clock. And I've gone ahead and done some pre-die cutting here so that we can kind of hopefully maybe get to a couple of cards. So I have a few cardstock layers stacked up here so that I can add some dimension behind my sentiment. And I have a few clock layers stacked up here out of some plain white cardstock. So I can add them behind my clock. And I have, this is the third largest of the ovals from the double stitched elongated oval die set. I'm loving these elongated ovals. By the way, if you didn't know, Pinkfresh Studio also has them in a press plate where you can foil like a frame and also a solid one without any details. So these are fun. Those who have misophonia might describe it as when a sound drives you crazy. Their reactions, oh, I have to read this. Their reactions can range from anger and annoyance to panic and the need to flee. Sounds like me. Okay, so I've die cut that, and I think what I'll do, because we have some time here, we may be able to get to 2 cards. I'm going to grab this Joyful Day stamp set, and I am going to stamp and heat emboss this onto some vellum. So I'm going to grab my Misty stamping tool. Oh, you have a grandfather clock that doesn't tick. Very nice. And I decided I have this actually heat embossed already, but let's just do it together because I have the time. And so I'm going to take and I am going to heat emboss this on white on vellum. Okay, so I have this large one-piece stamp that has all the leaves. I'm adding my vellum into my Misty stamping tool into that lower corner, and I'm going to prep the surface with a powder tool because I don't want my embossing powder to stick to areas that I don't want it in. So that'll help remove any static or oils from my hands and keep the embossing powder from getting to places that I don't want it to. I'm inking up with Versamark ink. This is my go-to embossing ink. It does feel, again, like it needs to be re-inked because I use it a lot and it sits in the drawer. Name of the cover plate, I need it. Elongated Lattice. Let's see, right? Help me out here. Elongated Lattice. Yep, that's it. I die cut 2 of those and stacked them together before we went live. Okay, so I've stamped that once. Let's stamp again. And just using that. Vellum, another thing I like but forget to use. Okay, vellum is just my favorite thing to use. Okay, so someone says vellum's a challenge for them when they're heat embossing because it always curls. Couple of things. Number one, it could be the vellum you're using. If you're using a really lightweight vellum, it's going to curl more automatically. I like a heavyweight, at least 40-pound vellum for whatever I'm doing. So sometimes the quality of a product can really make a difference in the results you're getting. That's the same for vellum with heat embossing as well. Have my little tweezers here. I'll hold that and I'll add some white embossing powder. Same thing with cardstock and foiling. The results are dependent on the quality of your cardstock. So if you're not getting great results, it may be the substrate that you're using, like the paper or the surface that you're using. So another thing to do when you're heat embossing on vellum, and I'm trying to cover this without making a huge mess, but I'm naturally mess maker. That just is how my life is. I just tend to be a little accident prone. The other thing you want to do is before you take your heat tool to the vellum is you want to make sure it's heated up. And then finally, you're going to want to keep your heat tool moving. And once the embossing powder is melted, you're going to want to move on to the next area. So don't keep heating in the same place. So we're going to go over this right now. This is a thicker, it's called a cardstock vellum. And also the other thing is if you're die cutting it, keep in mind that that might help flatten it out. But I'm gonna let this heat up. Sometimes I clean the stamp after Versamark, sometimes not. It's not gonna hurt it. So now that my heat tool is hot, I'm going to start melting the powder. Now I'm gonna move around. I'm not gonna concentrate in one spot for a long time. I'm gonna let this gradually melt. And then eventually you're gonna start seeing it really melt. And then I know I can just go in and just move along. Once it's shiny and smooth, I'm gonna keep my heat tool moving. I'm not gonna stay in that place. So I'm just kind of trying to tilt it up to where you all can see it as I'm doing it. And I'm just kind of tilting it in the light to make sure I got everything. And then you can see I have a tiny bit of warping, but not a ton of curling. So we are good. Heavy vellum does help. If you're using a really light, thin vellum, you're going to get a lot of curling, And maybe, I mean, it does have its place, you know, lighter weight vellums. But if you're, especially if you want to do something like card bases from vellums and stuff, I definitely recommend a heavyweight vellum. Okay, I'm lining up the coordinating die and I'm going to run this through. It does look beautiful and it's going to be just a perfect little accent on our card. Diane says the trade-off with heavier vellum is that it gets less translucent as the weight goes up. I do agree, but I think you'll see on this that it's still very ethereal looking and very light looking on the card overall. So I love a heavier weight vellum. It's just much easier to work with. I think it will save you a lot of trouble in life. It is still very transparent. I'm trying to throw my trash away, but I'm trying to keep my floor clean because it was just cleaned, but it doesn't seem like I'm going to do that. Okay. This brand of cardstock vellum is the Stamp Market. So what I'm thinking is just the simple kind of leaves coming out from behind. We could even put it behind the oval instead, so you're seeing a little bit less of it, but it's just kind of another layer, very ethereal looking. You see that? And then I'm thinking we will put it on to a gray card base. How do we feel about that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start gluing my sentiment onto my stack and my clock onto my stack. And you guys can tell me, should we put the leaves on top of the oval like this? Or should we put the leaves behind the oval like this? So on top or behind, you can let me know in the comments and we'll see what everybody's feeling. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start gluing all this down as soon as I find my glue. I love a good leaf accent. The Curvy Leaves die from Pinkfresh Studio is one of probably the most used dies that I have in my stash from Pinkfresh Studio. I use it all the time. If you, I haven't checked the most recent retirees from Pinkfresh, but I promise if that gets retired, I'm going to be so sad. Behind, on top, bottom, on top, behind. Oh my goodness. Y'all are going to be on top, on top, on top. There's a lot of on top. I feel like it's more prominent. I see both, but liquid glue. Oh, how can you forget that you have vellum, Marcia? Oh, Marcia, follow me. I use vellum all the time. I'll remind you, you need to use it. I like the leaves on top, says Carol. They are so pretty. I like to let them show a bit more. I like it behind. Oh, Curvy Leaves has been discontinued. Okay, well, Kennery and I are going to have a conversation. You guys keep talking amongst yourself about on top or behind. On top is winning. I agree, Cindy. I think it is. There's just something about like a good botanical die set. This actually, I'll show you, looks very beautiful on its own as a leaf pattern just cut out of vellum. So you could definitely do it without the heat embossing and still have a really beautiful piece. So let's take this. This is cut. I'm so sorry, Christina. I did not realize that it has been discontinued. Fettuccine, I think the reason that we have someone else moderating, and right now I'm not set up to do the poll from where I'm at, so that's why we didn't do a poll. Maybe we can do that the next time I'm live. Elizabeth says, my cart is full. I love all the products. So this piece of cardstock measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I'm scoring at 5 1/2. So that will create my top folding A2 size card. Botanicals and butterflies. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Yes, if you put it on top, there's more color showing for sure through the leaves. Okay, so now we're going to take this. This is the elongated lattice. I have 2 layers. It's a lighter weight cardstock, so it's not super bulky, but I have 2 layers here, and I'm going to place that onto my card base using some liquid glue. So I'm going to go around the edge. I like to have my edges for sure tacked down, and then I'll go in with the liquid glue kind of on some of the crossbars here to get this glued down. And I'm just moving quickly because we might have time. I at least have time to show you my thoughts for the second card. Maybe not finish it all the way, but I at least have time to probably show you. Okay, we're going to put that there. You bought something specifically for the save the dates for my daughter and then put it away and only remembered when I see you use it. That's funny. Okay, so I'm going to glue that down, and I have a large acrylic block I'm just going to place on top of that. And that's beautiful. And then we're going to take our leaves. Let's have a moment here and figure out how we want to do this. That looks good. Okay. So we'll do a little liquid glue on the parts that will be concealed by the clock. So just a little bit. I'm going to take this, probably put it about like, oh, there-ish, I'm thinking. Hold it down for just a minute. Jamie says, I'm really late, but hello. Hello, Jamie. Don't forget, you can always come back and watch from the beginning on the replay. I'm not, Talisa, I think that's a great idea. I could tuck some behind and some in front if I were to cut it apart. And this one's actually very easy to cut apart because you can cut it right here where these two meet. But I want to get this card done because I want to walk you through another idea for a different card. So I have some liquid glue. We're going to go on the back of our large grandfather clock. Cindy, I don't know what the blur is that you are all referring to. Maybe Kathleen can pop in and see if she's seeing it from her side. Sometimes it's your internet. This is a sea glass colored cardstock. It's from the Stamp Market. That is the blue that I'm using. It matches the Ocean Breeze ink really well. So if you don't have a blue cardstock, you could ink blend this oval using the Ocean Breeze ink from Pinkfresh Studio, and that would be a nice look. Okay, so then we're going to do this. This says grateful for each moment with you. Just make sure No blur from here. Okay, so maybe it's your internet or maybe it's buffering and I can't do a lot about that. I'm hardwired in, so I should be good. Oh, no blur here. Oh, maybe it was blue. I think you meant what is the blue? Okay, well that's great. I'm glad we're not blurred. Okay, I'm gonna put just a little bit of foam adhesive toward the back left of this. It's a little wide. Trim that down a little bit more. No blur. Okay, I have a question about the Pinkfresh ink holder. Is it okay to have closed? Because one half of them would be upside down. Yeah, I stored them with them closed. I have seen many, you want them flat, whether they're upside down or this way, but you don't want them like, so this is okay and this is okay, but this is not okay. Trust me, I just pulled some stuff out of storage. It was not okay on the side. So, Pinkfresh, and I believe that's Kathleen, says, yes, I've been storing my ink cubes like this for years and they haven't had any issues. Okay, so let's just make sure we're going to get this straight. So we're going to go like this. Maybe move it up just a tad. My stomach is making all kinds of noises. It's very hungry. And then I am going to add some foam adhesive onto the back of this. Carrie, I used sea glass from the Stamp Market for my blue oval. It is a fun vintage vibe, isn't it? Total vintage vibe. If making a masculine card, what color for the cardstock would you recommend instead of blue? Well, I might still use this blue, but I would not do the pinks here. I think I might use some darker blues on my clock and still use that lighter blue for my oval. I think it would be just fine. Do I want another piece coming up? Nah, we're good. Okay. I am going to just remove the backer. And we will place this right here. And I can use the line of this elongated lattice to make sure that I have everything kind of where I want it to be. Okay, that is so cute. It bugs me that this guy didn't get used. Okay, maybe we'll tuck him right there. Right up under there. Okay, I like that. I'm good with that. Looks like we could use a little glue right there. Perfect. Okay, so we have that. Let's take some gold metallic pearls. I wouldn't have thought of that for a baby card, but that is a cute idea. Okay, I'm going to take the largest of the gold metallic dots, pearls, dots, they're pearls. And I'm going to put it on the pendulum here. I like to do like a lower right. I think it's a lot of fun. And then we'll take the tiniest one, which I have there, put it right in the middle of the hands. And I don't think I'm going to do any more embellishments on this card. I think it's fine the way it is. If you wanted to add some more shine, you could definitely add a few more of the metallic gold pearls, like sprinkled throughout, but I don't want them to take away from my adorable clock. Carrie wants to know what we do with all the cards. Well, I use my cards, and if I don't use my cards, I give them to friends and family members for them to use. So that's card number one. And I'm going to quickly show you my idea for card number two. So card number two, I would use this little adorable like retro alarm clock. And this is the double stitched circle here. I have more of the leaves that are die cut from just some plain vellum. I'm not going to do the lattice, but I do have this. And then to create a more modern design, I would take a few strips. These are 1/4 inch strips of cardstock. And let's grab my olive, peach fuzz, and coral reef, and we're gonna add some color. The little alarm is darling, and you know, you don't have to use all of the images on one card. You can split them up like this, and you can make a couple of cards at one time. You get 3 clocks, and so you don't have to use them all on one card, especially this guy. He's nice and large. He can stand on his own. Okay, so I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna just color them using some ink. So I'm just swiping them with the ink pad. I'm actually holding them and dragging them. So I'm gonna take olive next. I like to do this on a scrap piece of paper because it just makes, you know, clean up a little bit easier. Okay, so I have a green strip. And this is a great way if you don't have the color of cardstock that you want and you want to do some cardstock strips. This is a great way to just create your own custom colored cardstock strips. I do find that I need to do them usually a couple of times to get the intensity of color that I want, but it works out just fine. Okay, so I have 3 of these. Have just a few minutes left. I'm just gonna show you what I would do. I'm not gonna do it all for you. So we'll put this I'll put it together after I'm done. And I would just do these kind of at an angle across this circle and then trim off the excess. So 1, 2, 3, trim off the excess, have my leaves behind. I have my little clock, which would be stacked up, just like this. I have my cheers to good times ahead, and I would probably do this kind of at an angle there. Okay, so imagine. Okay, and then just onto maybe a white card base with some foam behind it. And then you have card number 2 just in a few minutes because we already have a lot of those elements ready to go. Wouldn't that be cute? I love the addition of the ivory because it kind of gives you that vintagey vibe but keeps it really modern. So there you have it. 2 card projects. We didn't put this one together, but you guys, you get my gist, right? You get the drift here. What do you think? Do you like it? Hey, Kathleen, do you want to go ahead and pick a winner? And I will sit here for a minute. I'm going to adhere what I can together of this before we have to go. You want to pick a winner, and we will announce our 2 $50 gift card winners during the live. Keep in mind, if you're watching on the replay, you can leave a comment by midnight on or 11:59 on April 28th, and you will be entered to win one of 2 $50 gift cards that we will give away to those watching the replay. So anybody have any questions? I would love to answer those for you now. Keep in mind that the Cards for Him event is still open for registration. So if you are looking for that, go ahead and sign up. Don't miss your chance for that, especially if you're someone who struggles with masculine cards. Drum roll. I saw someone say you could rub some brown ink on it. That is, yes, you totally could. That is not really my style, but if you want to vintage it up a little bit, you could totally do that. Who would have thought I needed this set? I'm glad you guys are liking this. This is this second card is kind of like a fun modern way to use this little smaller clock. I think it's a lot of fun. Any plans for Pinkfresh to come out with cardstock? Sharon, I know in the past that there have not been plans for that, so I don't think that that has changed. The sentiments are a lot of fun. I used the Grateful for Every Moment with You. I used the Cheers to Good Times Ahead, and then this other one says, You're a true friend through all times, which would be cute. Maybe I'll use that one instead. All right. Thank you everyone for being here. Kathleen's getting our winners for us. I'm just going to continue to work around on this card here while we wait for those winners. Carrie Goldstein and Rita Kegg, congratulations. You're the winner of of the Pinkfresh Studio gift cards today. One $50 gift card for each of you. So you can pick up this new Good Time set or something else you may have on your wish list. You're going to send an email to customer service at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. Give them a few days to process that so that they can get that gift card over to you. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I'm going to just work on this for just a couple more minutes and look for your guys' questions. I'm going to put this guy right here. And we will add our little clock. Look, we're going to almost get 2 of these totally done. And then I won't have to go back and do something afterwards. Congratulations. Anybody have any questions they want to ask me while I just finish up card number 2 here? Thank you all for joining. Also, if you have not already, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our paper crafting and card making and live stream video tutorials here. We love having you here. I'm going to just flip you up to the camera so that I can say bye. I'm going to put this together. I'm going to get some photographs of this and get it up on the YouTube channel so you can see the second card all put together. Thanks again for watching. I'm so glad you're here. I'll be back in a few weeks with Pinkfresh Studio live here on Tuesday again. So be sure to watch the schedule. They do post ahead of time. The live streams, they schedule those ahead of time. So you'll be able to check out our next live stream on Tuesday next week at noon Central Time. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.